Hello everyone, myself Virendra Yadav. Today we are discussing chapter 5th, fundamental unit of life. So this is our chapter. Cell is the fundamental unit of life. Fifth chapter from 9th standard biology portion. Next we move to slide. What is cell? Cell can be defined as it is a structural and functional unit of life. So why it is called structural and functional unit of life? Because a single cell can perform all the functions which can carried out by a living organism, like absorption, respiration, nutrition, and reproduction. So a single cell can do all these kind of function. That's why it is a structural and functional unit of life. Then we move to next, discovery of cell. How cell discovered, that part we will discuss. Okay, so the first portion, all the living organisms are made up of fundamental unit of life called cell. Okay, here you can see. The second part is here. So cell word is derived from a Latin word, that's why whose meaning is called a little room. Because you might have heard cell different places, like in jail cell is used word. Then a battery is a confined area, so it is also called cell. That's why cell is a very general word. Next point is Robert Hooke. He was the scientist who discovered the cell in a bark of tree. He took a bark of tree, and that can be used for making cork. Cork is actually a lid of a, you might have seen in champagne bottle or perfume. The wooden lid is used as a cork. So he took a small portion of the cork and observed under a primitive microscope, and then he discovered it's a honeycomb like structure, like beehives having a hexagonal shape. So that shape is called honeycomb. So now we move to next slide. This is the primitive microscope which is used by Robert Hooke. It's a British botanist, and in 1665 he discovered, and with the handwritten diagram he drawn what he observed, he drawn on the paper. So this is how it looks. Then discovery of cell. As the time passes, now the science get advanced, and they use compound microscope, which is consist of eyepiece. This portion of from where we can see the things, that is called eyepiece, and the object, the lens which is close to the object we keep here, that is called objective piece. In between there is a condenser where the processing of image takes place, and we take safranin as a chemical which is used for specifically plant cell to observe under microscope. So this safranin chemical act as a stain, it gives color to the cell, so we can observe under the microscope. And methylene blue is used for only animal cell. So we have two different types of chemical which is used to help in making slides, and the slides which helps to see the cells. So there is a next fifth point, scientist Leeuwenhoek. He was the first scientist who observed the living cell under the microscope, and Robert Hooke observed the dead cell in the under the microscope. So that is the basic difference between both the observations. So Leeuwenhoek observed the first living cell under the microscope. That's why he is called father of microbiology. And as this equipments get better and better, then further the scientist Robert Brown discovered nucleus, which is present inside the center of the cell. Then we move to cell theory. Cell theory proposed by three scientists. So I just increase the size so you can observe it. Cell theory states all living things are made up of cell. Either it can be plant or animal. That is proposed by Sheldon and Schwann. And the second point was added by Virchow. He stated that all cells arise from pre-existing cell. So that is the two important points which forms the cell theory. Okay. Next is the important component of cell is cell wall. It is found in only plant cell. It is found in only plant cell, and these are the main points. So cell wall is a rigid outer covering which is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a kind of sugar, and it provides structural strength to the plant cell. And rigid means strong. Okay. So when a living cell or specifically plant cell loses water by osmosis, there is a shrinkage of content of the cell away from the cell wall. When the water loses, the cell get shrink, and because of shrink there is a gap between cell wall and cell membrane, and that phenomena is called plasmolysis. There is the opposite of plasmolysis is called deplasmolysis. In deplasmolysis, just opposite things happen. When water enters into the cell get turgid or full of water, and because of that cell membrane expands and it reaches to the cell wall. So in that condition we call deplasmolysis. So this plasmolysis and deplasmolysis helps the plant to protect, because most of the aquatic plants, fungi, bacteria, they live in water. So that is a hypotonic condition. In hypotonic condition, cell wall protect them. Cell wall is not allowing the cell to burst. Even the water enters more and more into the cell. So cell wall protects these cells, fungi, plants or bacteria, to withstand with the dilute or hypotonic solution. Now we move to the nucleus. That is the center part of the cell. So here you can see in the diagram the yellowish color, that is the nucleus. So we see the nucleus. It's a dark colored spherical or oval shaped dot like structure in the center of the cell called nucleus. So nucleus plays central role in cellular activity. Actually it's like a headquarter. It controls all the activities of the cell, reproduction, okay, and everything is controlled from the nucleus. Inside the nucleus we find a thin thread, a bunch of thin thread, that is we call chromatin. When cell is about to divide, these thread get condensed, okay, and they form chromosomes. Here you can see the chromosome word, chromosomes. So chromatin converts into chromosomes, and because it starts condensation, and because of condensation the chromosomes forms pair. So in human cell we find 23 pairs of chromosome. Each chromosome having the thread of each chromosome we call DNA, okay, and DNA having some part are functional, some part are non-functional. The functional part of DNA we call genes. So it is in sequence. Chromatin forms chromosome, chromosomes forms DNA, DNA forms genes. So in genes the inheritance information is stored. Okay, next we move to the how we classify prokaryote and eukaryote. So all the bacteria belong to prokaryote. Why we call prokaryote? Pro means primitive, karyote means nucleus. They have primitive type of nucleus, a nucleus without nuclear membrane or no protective membrane. But on the other side we can see the eukaryote, which having a protective membrane we call nuclear membrane. So just because of the presence of nuclear membrane we call eukaryote, and absence of nuclear membrane we call prokaryote. Then we move to next topic, plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is made up of two substances, that is lipids and carbohydrates and protein. These three things they are made up of, but normally we call lipid and carbohydrate. So here we can see the properties of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, it is outermost covering of the cell. It is selective permeable membrane. Plasma membrane is also called selective permeable membrane because it allows certain selective things, okay, like water, glucose, and that's why it is called selective permeable membrane. It is not allowing every substance to go across the membrane. Okay, so what is the function? It helps in diffusion and osmosis. Normally diffusion word we use for gaseous exchange, and osmosis we use for water exchange. A substance move from higher concentration to lower concentration. And exchange of carbon dioxide, here at the end you can find the exchange of carbon dioxide oxygen through external environment. It takes place through plasma membrane. Next our topic is diffusion. What is diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. Here red dots you can see they are molecules. They are very much crowded, so they try to move away from the crowd. And so this is high concentration and this is low concentration. So this is how the diffusion it is. Next is osmosis. Normally osmosis word we use for movement of liquid through plasma membrane. Okay, so osmosis is a passage of water, just increase the size so you can read. Yeah, it is a passage of water from region of higher water concentration to lower water concentration through a selective permeable membrane. So when here the most important part is we have to take care of the water word. Wherever the water is high, that is higher concentration, and wherever the water is low, that is lower concentration, just across the cell membrane. So first case, if we see, cell gains water if the medium surrounding the cell has a higher water concentration. If the outside the cell water is high and inside the cell water is low, that condition we'll call hypotonic solution. So the water will start moving inside the cell and cell get swell up. So in hypotonic condition, the cell get larger in size. Next move to second condition. The cell maintains across outside the cell and inside the cell, the water concentration is same. That condition we call isotonic solution. In that condition, there is no change in the shape of cell. Third condition, cell loses water if the medium has lower water concentration than the cell. Suppose inside the cell water is more and outside the cell is water is less. So inside water will start moving towards the outside the cell. So that condition is called hypertonic solution of the cell. Next our topic is tonicity. The three condition what we studied, you can see with the help of diagram. Okay. Here the first condition, isotonic condition, there is no change in the shape of cell. Second condition, hypotonic, the cell size is increased because water enters into the cell. Outside water is more, inside water is less. In third case, hypertonic condition, cell gets squeezed. Okay. And why it gets squeezed? Because inside the cell water is more and outside water is less. So water start moving outside the cell through semi-permeable membrane. Next topic is endocytosis and exocytosis. Actually, these two processes are normally used by single cellular organism, unicellular. What they do, whenever extracellular fluid or any food is outside the cell, normally it is used in amoeba. Amoeba, what they take, they break this plasma membrane and forms a vesicle. They take extracellular fluid or food and then close the vesicle, and vesicle move inside the cell. Okay, so that is called endocytosis. Taking the food outside food inside the cell is called endocytosis. Exo means once the food is digested and the waste material is released outside the cell by opening, that is called exocytosis. So there is a screen problem. Yes. Now we move to difference between prokaryote and eukaryotic cell. So already first point we are quite aware. In the starting I said presence of nuclear membrane is called eukaryotic cell and absence of nuclear membrane is called prokaryotic cell. So chromosomes are single. In eukaryotic, chromosomes are more than one chromosome. There is only one chromosome is present. As human we having 23 chromosomes, bacteria having single chromosome, and all the organelles which are present inside the cell are membrane bound organelles in eukaryotic. In prokaryotic, membrane bound cell organelles are absent, and examples are given: bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, plant cell and animal cells. So here I finish my topic. Now I would like to give you 5 questions as an assignment. First question is explain cell theory. Second question, what is plasmolysis? Third question, explain 3 types of tonicity. Fourth question, write difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. And last question, write difference between exocytosis and endocytosis. So next time we will continue with the second part. This was the first part. So here I sign off.